Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Yeah, we had the international break. It bores the hell out of me. I don't think I even watch England anymore. I did watch them against Italy, but that was only because I wanted to see how Rashford did, to see if he was going to be back in form, ready for this upcoming Premier League week. But yeah, we're just being held back by a shocking manager. Loads of people are getting a bit carried away and think we're going to win the Euros next year. Can't see it happening personally. With Gareth Southgate in charge, there's so many different things that he needs to fix. But I'm not going to go on a little rant about England. We have the Premier League back, and it's time for me to make my Premier League predictions. We've got a very action-packed week. We've got the Merseyside derby, we've got Chelsea, Arsenal. We've got very good Sunday football as well. Villa v West Ham, two great teams. So let's get predicting. Let's start off with the Merseyside derby at 12:30 on the Saturday. Liverpool versus Everton. Right, what a way to kick off the weekend, really. First Merseyside derby of the year, and both teams are going into this match with some promising form. They're both playing very well. It's a very difficult one to call. Obviously Liverpool are going to be the heavy favourites. They're at home, they're at Anfield. They are the better team in general, but it's a derby. Anything can happen in the derby. There's going to be a few, hopefully some fouls going in there, hopefully a little bit more spice to it, you know what I mean, like a derby where it just gets a bit more intense. And also, Everton are always the team that I don't back, and then they surprise me. Whenever I seem to predict them to lose, they normally win. But I think the safest option is I've got to go for a Liverpool win. But I don't know how close it's going to be, so I'm going to go for a 1-0. I feel like it's going to be similar to that one like a few years ago when Origi scored that last-minute winner. I think it's going to be very close. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Liverpool win. Then we go into Forest versus Luton. This is very difficult because Luton are a very unpredictable team. Actually, I don't think it's that difficult. I think it would be harsh for me to go against Forest here. They're clearly the better side. You just never know with Luton. It's a difficult one. But if in terms of being smart with my predictions, I've got to go for a Forest win here. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Forest. But they are the favourites. They're at home. I don't think I give Forest enough credit really in these predictions. I normally predict them to lose, and I always say how much I respect them. Got to predict them to win here. You just never know with Luton. They could scrap a 1-0 or scrap a 1-0 win. You never know. But in terms of predictions, I've got to go for my gut, and I've got to go for the smartest option here possible. So I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 Forest win. Then we move into Brentford versus Burnley. This is two teams in relatively poor form. Brentford off the back of a very disappointing defeat at the last minutes at Old Trafford, the game I went to. They conceded in the 93rd and the 97th minute to lose 2-1. McTominay became Pele for a second, but it was very unfortunate, and they just couldn't get over the line, which is a shame for Brentford, because that would have been a big 3 points for them at Old Trafford. And Burnley are also in poor form. They're struggling this season. They just can't seem to find the back of the net. They're playing some good football, but they're being punished with poor finishing. I noticed this especially when they played against us, because I was watching it on TV. They played great football. They played so much better than us, in my opinion. They create so many chances. They just can't find the back of the net. And I mean, when you're a team getting promoted, that is normally one of your biggest problems, but they're not going to stay up if they're going to continue to fluff their lines, fluff their chances. They've got to stop putting some more of their chances away. And obviously their defence isn't at a high standard. They play like a high line. They're good at passing around the back. Right? They're obviously left open when they're missing these chances. But I think considering both teams are in poor form, both teams are struggling, and both teams are struggling to score, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Maybe safe to go 0-0, but I'm going to go 1-1 because I think both teams will score. Then we're going to Man City versus Brighton. This is an interesting one because City are on a 3 losing game streak, which is rare for City. Obviously Rodri is now back from suspension, and we know how important he is. He's the man who won in the Champions League final. I think obviously we need to give a lot of credit to Gundogan, the captain of the treble winning team. But Rodri is one of the most important players in this Man City side. I think the CDM role, I've said this in the reaction last time we did predictions. CDM role is one of the most underappreciated roles in football. Rodri, it makes Man City tick. He makes them work. And this is nothing against Brighton. I think Brighton are a decent little team. I just think City are going to be the better side in this, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 City win. Brighton do look like to put up fights against bigger sides, but I think City away is just a step too far in my opinion. No disrespect whatsoever. 3-1 City. Then we go into Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. I think this is going to be a good match. This is 8th versus 9th. Newcastle are in great form, beating PSG. Palace are in decent form as well. They beat United, obviously, at Old Trafford. Two great teams, but I'm going to go for a Newcastle 2-1 win. I think their team's just a little bit better. Manager's a little bit better. It's going to be interesting to see whether Tonali plays or not. I'm highly suspicious. I don't want to go into matters like this, but I'm highly suspicious of Milan, to be honest. I think there definitely needs to be an investigation that goes on here, because they sold him they were happy to sell him, and I thought it was a bit odd selling him because he's a young star with definitely lots of potential. And then they sell him to Newcastle, and then now we're getting this betting scandal come out. I think it's highly suspicious, and I think they need to investigate Milan. But who knows? Tonali may have kept it quiet from Milan, and Milan didn't know either. So I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I just think it's a bit suspicious. But I'm going to go for a Newcastle 2-1 win. It's going to be a close match because both teams are in great form, but Newcastle just simply better. And they're at home, St James's Park. Atmosphere is unmatched there. Then we go into Bournemouth versus Wolves. This is the big one, the Gary O'Neill derby. And I do think Gary O'Neill will get his revenge here. I'm sure he obviously loves Bournemouth. I'm sure he's not looking for revenge, but surely he'll be a bit bitter in the way he was just disregarded, replaced. They didn't really seem to give him any credit. He didn't get the credit he deserved. I know I ramble on about this all the time, but keeping that Bournemouth side up, I'm pretty sure everyone predicted them to come 20th. Keeping them up last year, coming like 15th, I think it was, is amazing. And I don't really understand why they got rid of him. I've said this so many times. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wolves win. Wolves have been a better team this season. I mean, it's because Gary O'Neill's a good manager. It's clear to see that this Bournemouth manager is struggling to get points. He can't get any form of result. I think he's got like 1 point or something like that so far. They're 19th. It might be karma for sacking Gary O'Neill. But yeah, I think Wolves will grab the 3 points here. They're going to continue the dismal start for Bournemouth. And I reckon they're going to sack their manager come January, to be honest, because I think they're going to be struggling so much. They're going to have to get rid of him. Yeah, so 2-1 Wolves win. Then we go into Chelsea versus Arsenal. Extremely interesting matchup. Chelsea are just so unpredictable. 1 week they can surprise everyone. They play exceptionally. They can play like the best team in the world. But in other weeks they can play like the worst team in the world, like a relegation team in the Premier League. But they're in a good run of form. They've won 2 in a row. Although it is Fulham and Burnley, they played very well in both those matches. Created lots of chances, scored some goals, and they were good defensively as well. And that was really important because the fixture list that they've got upcoming is a really difficult one. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think both teams would take a point. Arsenal still unbeaten. It still would be unbeaten. They're off the back of that remarkable performance against Man City. They're going to be buzzing. I just can't put aside these two teams, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Then we go into Sheffield United versus Manchester United. Now this match has 1-0 Sheffield United written all over it. We've been abysmal so far this season. We did win our last match right at the end, which I did go to. That was probably one of the nicest matches I've ever been to. Just the atmosphere was great. But that's in the past now. We need to focus on the future. I hope that win is the start of something to come, because now we can push on. We're getting a few of our injured players back, Varane and Reguilon on the back, more balanced defence, which is definitely what we need. Casemiro is out, but I'm sure Amrabat can slot in that CDM role. But this is when Man United need to be dominant. This is the worst team in the league statistically, and they are 20th right now. But I just don't trust Man United, so I am going to go for a 1-0 win for Man United. But I don't think it's going to be anything special. 1-0 narrow win, but I wouldn't be surprised if I got this wrong and Sheffield United somehow pulled out a result. That's how unpredictable Man United are. That's the level we're at right now. Then we go into Villa versus West Ham. Great matchup. Two teams with incredibly great starts to the season, doing well in Europe as well. I think this is going to be highly entertaining. I'm looking forward to watch this as a neutral. Lots of attacks for both sides, I'm guessing. But Villa are the home team. Villa, I think, are a bit stronger than West Ham in terms of the ability in the squad. Managers, I think, is a bit better. I like David Moyes, but I think Unai Emery is a better manager. I think most people would say that. It's very difficult to call. Could go either way, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Villa win. And then into the final game of the game week. Spurs versus Fulham. Spurs are top of the league, playing exceptional football. Both their players are won Player of the Month of the first 2 months. Big Ange has won both Manager of the Months. They're picking up wins like it's nothing. I mean, they got a bit lucky with refereeing decisions against Liverpool, but they did have to win with 10 men against Luton a couple of weeks ago. yeah, they're flying, and I am very happy to see it. I love Big Ange Postecoglou. He makes me smile. I think it's more than just being a football manager. I think his personality anyone would love. I think any proper football fan loves his personality. It's just his way he talks about things. He's just a great man, I think, more than just a manager. And I do think they will continue their unbeaten streak, and I think they will stay top of the league, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 Spurs win. Nope, I don't think Fulham are that good. So yeah, simple as that. Spurs are at home. They're going to continue. Are they in a title race? I don't know. Maybe jumping a bit too far. But yeah, they will continue to stay top after this game week. But yeah, that is all my matchday predictions. I'm sorry I didn't really make any videos of the international break. I've got some videos planned for the next one. I'm going to probably do a little bit of an analysis of England. But yeah, that's about it really. I don't have too much. I'm going to wait till the Ballon d'Or because I think Messi's won it, which I do want to talk about, which I think is a bit of a joke. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and on to the next one.